Thank you, Eric. Good morning. It's a pleasure to be here today. I am the Midwest Regional Director, Zach Gorman, and I am very excited to be here to be on the panel today. Today we're going to do Change Shack to Corner Office, Ironworkers to Contractor Story. As an ironworker myself, as a former business manager of Local 89, I have a great appreciation for the challenges encountered and the risks taken and the early successes achieved by the hardworking team at Norris Ironworks. I wanted to stress two other important points in our discussion: the labor management cooperation that has taken place between Local 29 and Norris Ironworks, and the resources that Impact has put in place to assist Norris Ironworks and others like them. In particular, the BUILD program. Since the pilot program in 2020, the BUILD program has assisted more than 240 contractors across the US and Canada with more than 360 different individuals' services. There are many success stories among the 55 new contractors who have used the BUILD program over the last 2 years. Norris Ironworks is just one of the shining examples. Before we get started, I would like to do a quick poll question.
Our PowerPoint is not there. There it is.
It didn't come up. Would you please go to your app and answer the first question? There it is. Thank you. All right, I'd like to introduce everybody. Jason, this is Jason Fussell from Local 29, Business Manager. We have Carrie Walters, who does our BUILD program, and then Jordan Copeland, the owner of Norris. Quick. Would you please tell us a little bit about your company?
Sure thing, and thanks to Impact for having us out here and giving us the opportunity to do this, and BUILD for inviting us out here to hang out with everybody. It's been an awesome experience for us, my first conference, so glad to be here. So a little background on us. I started off literally cleaning floors. It was a carpet cleaner for an insurance restoration contractor. Worked my way through that, and after spending quite a few years working up into the supervisory role there, decided it was time to go back to school. I attended Oregon State University to get my construction engineering management degree. And while I was in school, I went to intern with an industrial contractor in our area that focused on process piping, tank fabrication, structural steel, skid fabrication, and install across the Northwest area, which was really my introduction into the steel world at that point. While I was working there, Ross Latimer, one of our other owners who was unable to join us today, was taking the industrial engineering degree at Oregon State as well. Also working for the same contractor, and he stayed on there to continue on into their QA/QC, learning a lot more about weld procedures, the tooling, the processes, and getting in pretty deep with them, all the way into their NQA-1 program, which is a nuclear fabrication program. A lot of heavy-duty stuff there, so he really built up an expertise in that area in addition to his work at the university. So after I got done in the industrial contractor, I got into the commercial world and joined a firm that was working on commercial, structural, miscellaneous, and that's really where I connected with the world of iron and really loved that type of work and getting out there and doing those types of projects, getting involved in infrastructure, universities, K-12, seeing all that happen. And that was when I got involved with Local 29 because a lot of our installers were the union contractors from the area. And that's where I met Jason, our other owner, also not able to be here, somebody's got to do the work. So the three of us coming together all happened in that arena on the commercial side of things. We then broke off and decided we wanted to give it a shot, and here we are.
Thank you. All right. So could you tell us a little bit about what you did to make the leap?
Sure. So for us, there was really two key areas that drove the decision to start a new business. Obviously, there's personal motivation that everybody has. In my own life, my son was born about 9 months before we started the business, and when you're working 12 hours a day, you have a kiddo at home, and plus our kid had some medical complications that required a lot of extra time, and when you have somebody to answer to of what your schedule is every day, it's really hard to balance all of those things, and the opportunity of having your own business and being in control of your own destiny and your own schedule was a big push for me to get out there and give this a try. But also at the same time, in our market, we saw an opening for this area that we're down in didn't have as much presence with the union, and what presence I did see in the steel construction industry that we had in the valley, there just wasn't that full service idea where people were willing to show up and take on whatever was out there. It was almost more adversarial than collaborative in our industry, and what we saw an opportunity to bring was to be those guys that are willing to try anything that came up. My favorite one is I had a customer call and said, well, I got a statue to move. I think it's made out of bronze. I'm not sure. I think it has stainless steel or maybe galvanized steel in the base. I'm not sure. And we have to move it one day, and it can't go wrong because it's a really expensive statue. Can you guys help us? Yeah, why not? We'll figure it out. And those kinds of things are just what helped us get off the ground and make the connections that we did, being ready to go, to learn, to figure it out, and to jump into stuff that was outside of our comfort zone, just to, even to tie into the earlier presentation today. It's one of those things that we try to make a practice of out the gate, and then it's something that we can do to grow our business and grow the people with our business that we're pulling from the hall and bringing other journeymen in. So once we had the right partners in place, like I talked about before, and we had that why, defining what we were going out to do, that was when we knew we were ready to go, because that's really key, is understanding what the reason why you're going into business is going to guide you once you step out into the field, because it's a broad field, a lot of places to go, a lot of options, different things to work with, a lot of ways to interact with your customers, to build your team. And if you don't have that clear defined goal that says, this is what we're going to do, this is a statement we're going to make, it's a lot easier to get lost on the way.
And would you mind sharing with us the challenges along the way?
Yeah, so there's those early challenges that you come across whenever you're going to start a business, no matter what industry it is. For us, financial hurdles, you assume right away that if you're going to start a business, you're going to have a massive amount of capital. But what I love about our industry and the construction industry in general is that you don't have to go that route if you don't want to. If you want to go out and do a football stadium for your first job, you better have some cash to back it up, but you don't have to mortgage your home. You don't have to get rid of all your assets and cash out everything you've got to start the business. We did it with $3,000 each, some tools that we had, and we started small. And with each small bite that you take, you eat an elephant one bite at a time. So we started off where we knew we could handle it, we could keep our cash under control, slowly worked our way up until now we're all able to do those multi-million-dollar contracts without taking on massive amounts of debt, without having to sink our whole life. And if something didn't work out and it didn't happen, we weren't going to be done for at that point. So that's important to know, that you don't have to go all in to that degree to be successful and move forward. Not enough time, I was talking about time earlier on, but you can take those small bites again there too, and that's what's great about working with the Build program, to work with Impact, to get connected with your local, is that while you're working, while you're living your life, you can start the process and you don't have to do it all at once. You don't, again, have to jump off the cliff and say, all right, selling everything, I'm quitting my job and I got to be in business in 30 days or we're up a creek. So pacing yourself, and again, taking those small bites, building up your system before you jump in, and having that in process gets rid of that necessity that you think you have to dedicate every hour of your day to do it. And the last bit is the self-doubt. You got imposter syndrome sneaking around everywhere. There's mornings when I'll wake up and go, all right, when are they going to catch me today? Should I be up here right now talking with these guys? Should I be here at the conference with you? But everybody has that. And what's important is understanding that if you have something to offer to the customers that you're going to and to the other people that you're working with, if you bring a skill and you bring something to the table, you can be tattooed, long-haired, crazy-looking guy like me and still go sit down with a billion-dollar company and make a deal with them. And that's what it's all about, is what are you bringing to the table? And everybody's got something to bring. Unexpected stuff. So I put in my notice the same week that the entire world shut down. So we were really sure how that was going to affect us, and had to see how all the protocols were changing, what was happening around us, and try to figure out how we were going to adapt to that market. But actually ended up being a benefit for us, because while everybody else was having to redo the way they did business, we were just starting out. So we could start off in that world, be ready to go a little bit quicker, faster than everybody else. And when there was a need for labor after everything went haywire there for a while, we were right there ready to go. So that made it actually a benefit for us in the long run. And then on top of that, bidding process and making the right connections is a big one for us because, again, you're stepping into a vast world. There's so many people that find out, oh, hey, we've got this product here, this system there, we can do this for you, we can make this happen. And relationships are the biggest part of success, especially when you're the little fish in the pond. If you are connected to the right people that have your best interest in mind when you go out and set out the gate, then you're going to be successful. But you've got to have resources to reach out to, like these guys up here, that can help make those connections for you, that can let you know, hey, don't worry about this right now. You don't need every marketing platform. You don't have to bid every job that comes in front of you, but focus with this, talk to this company over here, and they'll help you get started and get off on the right foot.
Thank you. Jason, what kind of help is available to help contractors like Norris Ironworks?
Well, we support all of our contractors, new and old, by listening to their, challenges and needs and concerns. Of course, providing them with skilled labor, but also helping them with job requirements, project requirements regarding training or any of the certifications we have to offer. We offer them project leads to keep them and help them develop contacts and build relationships to make them successful. And then, of course, using impact. The build program is really crucial for our new contractors to get the training and programs needed to set them up for success.
And to piggyback on that, I can say from experience, we've got a pretty good sized job coming up later on this year that had minimum apprenticeship requirements and goals for different minority inclusions, and I've never come across that before, and it was a new thing for me. And all it took was a phone call over to Jason and say, hey, they're telling me I need to make sure I bring this to the job. Do we have that available? Are the resources there? And they already knew what to do. They had it set, and it makes it a lot easier for me when I come across those new things or special requirements, special certifications that we need. It's D16, we got to get overhead for it. Do you have a guy? Can we get the cert? What's the process? And it's just one phone call, and it's me bugging him 3 times a week trying to figure out what those things are. So it's very nice to have that resource at your local hall.
And Gary?
Yeah, excuse me. So the build program is created to help contractors through all stages of development, from pre-planning to startup to existing companies and even companies in generational transition. And we do that with a dedicated coaching team for both the back office and the union interfacing issues through the Impact Regional Director. But we also provide a structured business process, tools and templates, and really the capstone on all that is access to the key resources that they need to go forward. The accountants, the attorneys, the bonding and insurance, bidding and estimating, et cetera, through the whole thing. So from within that whole spectrum, after talking with Jordan initially, recognize where they're at, we were able to then engage in all the list of things that you see out there. And I made sure to put the key word up there, collaboration. It became very quickly a great back and forth and collaborative working arrangement where I think I've learned as much or more from Jordan as he's taken away from us.
On that process worked out really well on our end as well, because I didn't need a Business 101 class coming in with my background, but we did need to double check our fundamentals to know, was there anything we didn't know? What was I missing? What did I not see? And Carrie was great about going through all the basics, making sure that we had those tuned in, and then showing us what level 2 looks like, because I've never run a business before. Been around it, know how the bare bones function enough to get things moving, but with the build program, it wasn't just sit down and let's start at the base level. They were able to engage with us where we needed to be at the time, and I don't see that ending anytime soon, hopefully, as long as we don't bug you guys too much.
All right. What are some of the early successes that you've experienced, Jordan?
So for us, it was about creating measurable goals out the gate. We had personal goals, which was don't go out of business, and we didn't do that. We're still here. Hopefully that stays in place for a while, but for us, we had a key set of customers in the valley that we really wanted to work for. There was certain general contractors doing certain types of projects that we wanted to be involved with, and we've been able to connect with all of them and get direct contract work through them. Second to that is the types of projects. As I mentioned earlier, I really like the K-12 education, university type projects. And we've got a lot of that down in our area and have been able to really embed ourselves into that market within the first year of being open. We brought our first group of journeymen in from the hall to help build the team and build the skilled labor force that we have down there. And we hope to keep building that up and continue to get more and more people working for us in that area. We were able to double our projected revenue out the gate, which was awesome. A little scary at first because the ball was rolling at that point. We had to keep up, but it was really great to see the process work in a way that we didn't even expect, as good as it could at that point. And putting our business processes in place to where they functioned for what we needed. There's so many different aspects to running a construction company and running a public works construction company and dealing with all of that. You really have to have all of those systems in place, and that was a huge help in working with the build programs to stress test all those, see if there was any places that we were missing, and then just keep them running in process. Still got a lot of work to do on them, but at least everything's there and functioning, and we don't have a big lack of ability in any general process that we hope to start out with.
Carrie, did you want to jump in?
Yeah, one of the great successes from my perspective is it was evident right away that Jordan not only had a natural curiosity about things and wanted to know that as a result of our conversation and getting to a level of understanding, he would just latch onto things and run with it and just get them done. Follow through, responsiveness, returning calls, that's great. It sounds like an obvious thing, but it's not so obvious across the industry or our community. And the other big example for me is in talking with Jordan and working through things, have been able to actually expand our network of resources that we have available to help others as well. So again, that's part of the collaborative aspect of it.
Jason?
No, I'll say building the contractor base is definitely the future. In my jurisdiction, we've been pretty blessed with a lot of work for quite some time. Pretty much every one of my contractors is at capacity or in their comfort zone. So unless we continue to work with new companies and build our contractor base, we're going to have a hard time securing this upcoming work in the future and secure our market share that we fight for every day.
Thank you. What were some of the hard lessons learned?
There was a few key areas that I think would be good to point out. Now, obviously, everything had its challenges with it, but for us, learning the importance of relationships, in particular with your banking outfit, your bonds provider, and your insurance provider. When you're first hitting the market, you just Google business insurance and see what comes up and start making phone calls, and you don't always get connected with the right people that are going to set you up. It's another area where there's so much to understand, there's so much to know, and so many different types of coverages that are required, and you're going to have to continue to adapt that coverage as you get into larger projects, different types of projects, different areas of work. And not all of them want to show up and put the time in to help you understand what you're getting into. They just like to send you a package, here's our price, off you go, and then good luck to you from there. So, and banking and bonds too is huge. If you want to get that bond to be able to do that first big project, if they don't know you from anybody else, all they can see on paper is what you're doing. But finding the right provider, giving them your background, letting them know what you're doing, who you're working with, and them getting to sit down and build trust in you. And same with your banking too. If you want that line of credit, they need to know you. They need to know who they're investing in, because it's an investment for them too, right? You're making a sales pitch to get them to back you up and support your company. And if you don't take the time to build those relationships early, you're not going to have the best that you need to be able to go out and support yourself. On the other side of that, with the marketing side of things, there's, again, such a broad base of ways you can market your business. And we're a business-to-business company. It's not like we're trying to get everybody to go out and pick up the new Norris Iron Works piece of steel at Home Depot. That we need to know how to reach out to the people that are looking for our product, but stay away from all the different shortfalls you can get into and trying to have your name everywhere with every different service that's out there. And really start your focus with the existing connections that you have. We've all been working in the field. We all know superintendents, foremen, project managers that you spend every day with, and those are going to be your best advocates to help get you in the door, and they will do the marketing for you. It's good to have your branding in place. It's good to have a professional look and feel, but you have to make sure you're putting that effort in the right spot early on when you have to really make everything as surgical as possible to get the most out of it at the time. Pre-qualification process, again, to piggyback on that relationship side, can be pretty difficult to get in the gate. Everybody's got to manage their risk, There's a lot of people involved in deciding who gets to come to the table to work on a certain type of job, and there's a lot of paperwork, there's a lot of reports, there's a lot of back and forth, and if those reports don't look stellar, then you have to sit down and make your case in front of all of them, and learning how that process works and preparing for it so that when you do show up to the table, you have a good answer, and you're not just going, hey, give me a chance, I'd like to work for you guys. You have a much better chance of getting into the higher level jobs with the higher level contractors and get yourself in a very strong position as quick as possible. And the last one is everybody's favorite certified payroll. I know there's some classes about this. There's a lot of talk about this right now with the new initiatives that are coming out and all the opportunities that are there for the unions that are out. And one of the most important things to me for that is really understanding that process, understanding those laws, understanding the reporting, and understanding when you're being asked to do something that isn't the right way and you can correct and adjust. Because for me, it was kind of going into, it was my first time dealing with any of that paperwork and that process, and learning that it takes a lot of time, and you really want to get everything dialed in correctly because there's laws involved, there's reporting involved, and you want to make sure you're compliant with all those things. And it's a lot to take on early on.
Thank you. Jason?
Well, definitely after talking with Jordan and just some of the lessons learned and the challenge they have, we definitely want to do a better job in equipping our contractors regarding the challenges they're going to have as a new contractor. Working on making them aware of some of the resources needed to talk about some of the things that he was just discussing, whether it be the banking, bonds, learning how to do certified payroll, and any other obstacles that they might run into that we'd be able to help them overcome.
How about you, Kenny?
Yeah, the big challenge for us is getting the word out. I say it over and over again that contractors can't take advantage of programs they don't know about, and we can't help contractors that we don't know about. So getting that word out, bridging that gap is an ongoing challenge for us. That's what will allow us to then rinse and repeat as frequently as possible this kind of success.
Thank you. Jason, what lies ahead for Local 29?
Right now we're definitely going to continue collaboration with Norris, and of course continue working with Impact. Right now I'm still, once again, pretty blessed. I have 3 more companies that are actually ironworkers that are starting up, that are going down the right path by not taking the big bites, by getting their ducks in a row, by building up the liquid that they're actually going to need, and tools and different things like that. And of course, going to put them together with the build program to help ensure that they start off right. We see a lot of people that actually start off, take too big of a bite or do too much things before they're ready to do so, and then we lose them just as fast as we get them. So Jordan's in this company is the perfect example of the way things need to be, in a row. You have to have and just be prepared for that next step. So I'm just counting on nothing but success from him.
And Carrie?
Yeah, well, just keying right off of that, based on the success we've had here and everything that Jason just said, we're really making a concerted effort this week to expand collaboration directly with the locals and through the district councils. That's key for us. We also want to expand collaboration with some of the existing businesses. We're spending, we invested a lot of time and energy in the startups. We did that intentionally. That's where the greatest risks are. It's where the greatest needs are. We also felt that a lot of the resources and capabilities that we developed could be extended to the existing companies. So we'd like to see continued expansion of those, as well as those in generational transition. And then continuing to build out our network of professional resources. We have a goal of having regionally based pockets of those. We're not there yet. We're a long way from that, but we'll continue to add to those one at a time.
And how about you?
We want to try to keep the momentum going for our group. So it's, again, having those measurable goals that we can work through, the SMART goals, as Bill likes to put it. So we want to keep growing our team. We want to get as many journeyman ironworkers in as we can as we continue into this next year and build projects. We'd like to see that number double or more at better. We like the double number. It works pretty good for us. Revenue, again, too, working on hitting that double mark. We've got a nice full backlog for this year that everything's penciling out to continue that growth, but not overwhelmingly so we have time to keep up with where everything's moving. We really want to connect with other contractors outside of our immediate network. We've got our core group that we've used as our base, but there's, again, just a world of other contractors out there that Haven't even had the chance to work with the unions and to see what's going on out there and other markets that maybe we can work ourselves into to bring that expertise anywhere where we can find an opportunity. And then for our team, it's to try to take the training of communication and social engineering is a big one for us. And it's great to see that, and Impact has obviously put a lot of effort into that as of late. There's lots of trainings available. You've got lots of classes here at the conference that are about it. A lot of things are addressing that, and it was even brought up during the last part of the first presentation of communication being so important for everybody. To not only everybody's a salesperson, from your apprentice who's just learning how to rig all the way up to me sitting in front of a board trying to make a sale. And everybody can benefit from learning how to do that because it can help you at home, it can help you at work, and we want to try to use those programs that Impact has out there, develop some of our own to take every single person that comes to work for us and help build that skill as a core for everything else that they're going to learn to do.
Well, I'd like to thank you all for sharing. We have one more poll question. If you would, go to your app and answer the poll question. We told you up front that Norris Iron Works is one of many success stories that are out there, and it is a great story. But here's some things that we need help with. We'd like your help in putting people into the BUILD program to help create the next success story. Thank you.